One of the key pieces of the Formula One driver market puzzle is now in place. Or should we say it's staying in place, because Pierre Gasly officially staying with AlphaTauri for another season in 2023. And to help me, Glenn Freeman, discuss what that means for Gasly and for the Red Bull driver situation in general, we have Scott Mitchell and Ed Straw here. Ed, let's come to you first. Quite simply, Gasly staying put at AlphaTauri. Is that good news for him?
It's somewhere in between good and bad news. It's a good holding pattern for him. He's made it very clear that he wants to be in a front-running car, and who doesn't? And for all the rhetoric about AlphaTauri being a sister team rather than a junior team, it's still a poor relation at Red Bull. So that's not a team that's going to deliver on his ultimate ambitions and the chance of him moving into Red Bull now. Sergio Perez has done that new deal to the end of 2024, vanishingly small. It would require some unforeseen set of circumstances for that to happen. So his best option, with no alternatives for next year, is to just keep doing what he's doing in AlphaTauri, show he can still cut it in F1's midfield, and then ideally translate that into a move into possibly a front-running team, but realistically an upwardly mobile midfield team that perhaps can deliver on those aspirations in the future.
And Scott, Ed touched on it there. You know, the doors to Red Bull appear to be closed. I think they were closed even before Sergio Perez got his new contract. So is Gasly in a bit of a strange situation here? But is this also a strange situation for Red Bull?
Yeah, it can't be easy for Gasly. I know he got jettisoned from the senior team halfway through his first year there, but he's done pretty much everything you could reasonably expect of him since then. He's even won a Grand Prix since then. So I totally get why from his side he kind of feels like performance-wise, results-wise, what more do I need to do? But I think it speaks more to the fact that Red Bull is a bit lost at the moment with its junior driver program, its pool of drivers in general. Ever since they've been looking for a replacement for Daniel Ricciardo, it's just been a bit weird. Even in the Toro Rosso appointments that we've seen over the years, with bringing back Daniel Kvyat, Brendan Hartley, Alex Albon getting into F1 in the first place, and then turning up at Red Bull Racing halfway through his rookie season. And it kind of came to a head when they picked Sergio Perez, which basically undid about 13 odd years of Red Bull's development of only having its own drivers, or only wanting its own drivers in its F1 team. So I think for Red Bull in an F1 context, it's all got a bit muddled lately. You've got the best placed driver of your homegrown talents out of Red Bull Racing being blocked into Red Bull Racing. That's Gasly. You've got a bunch of drivers who we'll talk about in a bit that are in F2 and F3, who none of them are really staking a massive claim to an F1 seat. And now you've got a driver in Perez who's an external hire, who's doing such a good job in the senior team. You don't want to get rid of him for the next 2 years. So I think Red Bull's got itself lost a little bit along the way, because ultimately either it's making the correct decisions now and it's not appointing drivers who aren't good enough for the Red Bull Racing team. But if that is the case, then they've made a mistake earlier in the pipeline, because they've clearly identified drivers who ultimately weren't good enough to do the job in Formula One.
Let's look beyond next year then, and already cast our minds to 2024. What could or should the future hold for Gasly, and where is the next Red Bull junior superstar coming from?
Well, from Gasly's perspective, I'm sure he's already exploring all the opportunities. It's still a long way out, 2024. There's only probably two teams that you can be 100% certain have their lineups locked, which is Red Bull and Ferrari. So there's a lot of possibilities. McLaren, Williams, Alfa Romeo, Haas, Aston Martin. He's been linked to Alpine, but that one probably looks less likely because Fernando Alonso's set for a new deal. Oscar Piastri's waiting in the wings, and Esteban Ocon's signed to the end of 2024. But I think what matters for Gasly is, he said this, his next move in Formula One's probably going to be the key one in his career. He'll turn 28 in 2024, very much in Formula One middle age when it comes to then. So for him, it's a key that he makes the right choice and gets in somewhere. My big concern, if I was in Pierre Gasly's shoes, would be whether I'd get onto the shortlist of a lot of those sort of teams, but never quite be number one on the shortlist. That could be the thing that undoes him. But he's certainly in the mix with a lot of teams who would be interested in his services.
And obviously he does have the option of just becoming a career AlphaTauri driver. That is there, because I don't really see anyone coming in, and I don't see pressure from behind, if you see what I mean. Obviously Yuki Tsunoda's there now doing a good job, but obviously still needs to do more to displace Gasly as the number one driver in that team. Gasly is experienced. He's really popular in that organisation. And this conveyor belt of Red Bull Junior talent, it's not stopped, but it's definitely slowed down. So if Gasly was getting a hurry up to do something, it would be because one of those Red Bull Juniors is dominating F2. I think if you look at the crop of talent there, it's ironic that at a time where Red Bull has more drivers in Formula 2 and Formula 3 than ever before, none of them really look like obvious F1 candidates. I think the most likely one is probably Dennis Hauger, obviously the reigning Formula 3 champion. He's a race winner in Formula 2, but he's still quite rough around the edges, and he's not having one of those Charles Leclerc, George Russell rookie F2 seasons by any means. And a couple of the other drivers there, again, they're just not the complete package. Jehan Daruvala has been around for quite a while, but he's making his F1 test debut with McLaren. So Red Bull clearly doesn't have too many designs on him. And we know with Yuri Vips, for example, has been a driver who's been on the sort of periphery for a while. He did an FP1 outing for Red Bull, but he's had a hit and miss Formula 2 season, and he's got himself into all sorts of trouble off track since then. As well, and his place on the program could be up. They're conducting an internal investigation after some comments that he made while streaming on an online game. So there's all sorts of problems within the Red Bull talent pool at the moment. It is very, very difficult to see where the next AlphaTauri driver comes from, let alone the next Red Bull Racing driver.
Yeah, there's no question. Gasly and AlphaTauri is a good fit at the moment in Formula One's midfield, but certainly Gasly is a driver who's going to have ambitions beyond what he's been able to do in the last few years since his Red Bull demotion. We hope you've enjoyed this discussion. Please let us know in the comments where you think Gasly should go. And if you want to see us chatting on the channel a bit more, let us know in the comments what else you'd like to see us discussing as well. And we'll see you again very soon.